Here we have x over 3 is greater than 4 with x on the left side, so I'm going to focus on the left side of my inequality. Because x over 3 is division, the opposite is multiplication, and when I multiply 3 on both sides, I get x is greater than 12. Now we have 7 is less than or equal to 2x plus 4 plus x. And I know that I have to get all my x's together. They are on the right side, not the left, so I'm going to focus there and say 2x plus 1x is equal to 3x. And I know this because I have 2 x's under 2x, that is x plus x, and then there is 1x by itself. That is how I arrive at the 3. I know it looks like there are only 2 x's written in total, but one of them represents 2 and the other one 1. And now I can rewrite my entire inequality so that I have 7 is less than or equal to 3x plus 4. So now I have to look for plus or minus on the side that has the x, and I see a plus 4. The opposite is minus. The opposite of addition is always subtraction. So I cancel out that 4, and I have to think about 7 minus 4. The answer to that is 3, and I am left with 3 is less than or equal to 3x. Now I just need to think about one final step. I have 3x, which means multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division, and I'm still just looking at the right side of my inequality. I don't want to touch anything on the left side to cancel it out. Although we can see here 3 divided by 3 technically cancels out on both the left and the right. You don't have to cross it out, it's not what we normally do, but it helps to show that it does. When we cancel out a division, what we're really getting is a 1. So we have 1 is less than or equal to 1x, or if you prefer, just 1 is less than or equal to x. Of course, we prefer the x to be at the beginning, so I'm going to flip around my entire inequality. I get x is greater than or equal to 1. Here we have x squared is less than 16. We are going to separate the two sides of our inequality, and we notice that we have an x on the left, so I am going to focus on the left side. Now I have to look for a plus, and there isn't one. I'm going to look for minus, there isn't one. Multiplication, nope. I also don't see any division, there's no fractions there. Uh-oh, all our regular operations are no good. So I have to figure out a different way to deal with this. I have an exponent. What is the opposite of a square? Well, the opposite of a square is a radical, a square root in this case. When I cancel out the exponent and the square root, my x is left alone. Just like plus is the opposite of minus, a square and a square root are opposites to each other. They cancel each other out. And now the square root of 16, one number multiplied by itself, gives me 16. Well, I know 4 times 4 is 16, but I also know negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. So the square root of 16 actually has two answers. If you've been told that the square root of 16 is 4, well, that's true. It's not a lie, but it's a bit of an incomplete truth. The answer is positive or negative 4, plus or minus 4. If you just write positive 4 though, that's a pretty good answer. X is less than, plus or minus 4. Let's take a look at x squared plus x squared is greater than or equal to 200. We have x's on the left side, so we're going to focus there. And I notice I have 1x squared plus 1x squared. They both have exponents. And there's 2 of them. So I'm going to say that I have 2x squared. There's those imaginary coefficients, those 1's in front of the x's, that tell you there's 1. We don't normally write them unless it's a number bigger than 1, but we have them there. Now that we have 2 times x squared, the opposite is dividing by 2. So I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. Whatever I do on the left, I always do on the right. And I am left with x squared is greater than or equal to 200 divided by 2, which of course is 100. Now the opposite of a square is a square root. So I take the square root of both sides, and I know square and square roots cancel out, so I'm left with an x on the left and the square root of 100 on the right. I know 10 times 10 is 100, but also negative 10 times negative 10 is 100. So x is greater than or equal to plus or minus 10.